So how does a business put together a sticky message, one that their champions can understand clearly, even if they're not in their industry, but that they can also repeat accurately to someone who might be a prospect for them?
Yes, that's a good question. So one of the things I think is a lot of people focus on what they do. So they tell everybody what they do, and no one can remember what anybody else does, and it's all very sort of commoditized anyway. So if you want to stand out, one of the things is to think about what's your narrative? Why do you do something? You know, what do you believe in? What gets you out of bed and what motivates you? And then rather than focus on what you do, think about how you do it. And if you can condense that down into a nice little message where you talk about, well, this is what I believe and this is how we deliver it, that's something that's much stickier because you're not asking people to remember facts and figures. It's a story, and people remember a narrative.
So storytelling is a key part. How can you? What advice would you give to someone and say, well, this is the sort of story you want to come up with. This is how you find your story.
Yeah, so I think the thing is to say is, why am I in business? Okay, it may be to make money, and there's nothing wrong with that, but what fires you up? So for Mark Zuckerberg, it's to connect the world. So for the Google guys, it was to democratize the world's information. What excites you about what you do? And then how do you do that? So if you think about Steve Jobs, right, for him, it was about really focusing on usability, making stuff beautiful. And that's something that people can remember. So it's thinking about what you're passionate about and then how do you make it happen? And that's how you start to create something that's a nice narrative.
And this is actually, it's very similar to what Simon Sinek has said in terms of the start with why approach. And I don't know if you've come across his work. And I think that he uses similar examples. Why are you doing it? What's the heart? And my take on it a lot of that is, why would other people be interested as well?
Yeah, so I agree with that 100%. And what I say to people is this, is that what you do today is really commoditized because, you know, loads of people do the same thing, don't they? And however good you are, everybody else will say they're good as well. So what you really need to focus on today, if you want to differentiate yourself, it's not just about what you do, it's about how you do it and who you do it for.
Yeah.
And if you think about that in your narrative, it makes a big difference.
I remember a few years ago I saw you speak and you said, forget unique selling points, focus on points of differentiation. And I've been telling people that for a while.
Yeah.
It might be worth just finishing with that and explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the other thing I talk about, which is very important if you want people to remember, is think about the emotional selling proposition that you have. So we used about Charles Revson, very famously, the founder of Revlon. He said, in the factories we make perfume, in the shops we sell hope. He knew exactly what he was about. So do you know what the emotional deliverable is of your business? Is it to give people reassurance? Is it to empower them? What is the emotional deliverable, and how do you get that, sort of encompass that in your message?
Excellent advice. Thank you, Grant.
Thank you.